Could I get your read on how Topuria versus Oliveira plays out?
Man, that's one where your heart's telling you, Charles, and your brain's telling you Ilia. It's just that one's a coin flip. Can't count Charles out. Ilia's on an absolute tear. Charles does get hit, and Ilia cracks. That fight I am very excited for.
That's the confidence that he has going into every single fight. Of course, Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira is an exciting fighter, but it's the exciting style that he has that will give me cause for concern if I was coaching Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. Nobody will be booing when Charles Oliveira fights, but it's that reckless style that might get him clipped. Ilia Topuria, he's clean, he's composed, he's calm, and he's looking at his opponent, and when he explodes, we know he's got big power. He might explode the chin of Charles Oliveira, whereas Charles Oliveira on the flip side, the chin's a little up, he's throwing knees, he's throwing elbows, and we absolutely love it. But that's got him in trouble before.
Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira has created a lot of buzz within the MMA community, with top fighters and experts' opinion, most of them in favor of Topuria. Sean O'Malley provided a strategic endorsement, citing Topuria's youthfulness, razor-sharp striking, and unorthodox techniques. He believed that Ilia's potent power and unpredictability would make him a huge headache for anyone within the division. This isn't hype, O'Malley contended, but a reasoned analysis from one striker to another. Ilia introduces the type of explosiveness and timing that breaks rhythm, and in a division laden with technicians, that is truly hazardous.
Could I get your read on how Topuria versus Oliveira plays out?
Man, that's one where your heart's telling you, Charles, and your brain's telling you Ilia. It's just that one's a coin flip. Can't count Charles out. Ilia's on an absolute tear. Charles does get hit, and Ilia cracks. That fight I am very excited for.
Islam Makhachev's trainer also supported the Topuria train and looked at the fight from a technical perspective. He praised Ilia's constant pressure, great footwork, and cutting off the cage, all essential when dealing with a submission artist like Oliveira. Although he credited Oliveira with his BJJ credentials and previous success, the coach emphasized that Topuria's pace and poise were likely to overwhelm him. For him, it's not youth versus experience, it's structured chaos versus traditional form. Ilia's intensity, he claimed, was planned and effective, not indiscriminate.
Ilia, power puncher, boxer, low stance, versus Charles Oliveira. If someone gave you $100 grand to bet on that fight, who would you bet?
Ilia. But if you're asking me who I would want to win, I'll put Charles. I'll put my money on Charles.
Yeah.
It's basically because Charles is going to stand in there upright like you're saying, and Ilia's got a really good way of connecting with that chin. Really, really nice. Just like what he did with Bo. Ilia's got more opportunities than Charles does.
Daniel Cormier weighed in, saying that Ilia not only wins, but is dominating with a level head that is not common for incoming contenders. DC pointed out Topuria's maturity, how he navigates the limelight, and how he finds his level when it comes to big situations without having the pressure shatter him. He likened Topuria's ascent to other greats who did not allow hype to distract them. Cormier's praise didn't ring like that of a fan. There was something of a veteran seeing someone who's on the verge of something huge in the lightweights.
So I'm trying to get in on this guy, Ilia Topuria. Hey, Ilia Topuria has been something else. Ever since the moment he announced that he was going up to 155, clearly, because he's such a big star, people will start to talk about him. Ilia Topuria has had a lot to say. Ilia Topuria is phenomenal. Let's call it what it is. He's a great fighter. He's undefeated. He's a world champion. He knocks people out. He really has become a true star because watching how all this has worked out from the outside, I see now, or I can respect the type of cachet that he has. He's not just another fighter.
Michael Bisping seconded that opinion, praising Topuria's mental fortitude as a world-class characteristic. He's seen Ilia grow incredibly fast, technically and mentally, and is convinced that composure under duress is what distinguishes pretenders from champions. Bisping's admiration wasn't given cheaply. He noted that Topuria excels in adversity and doesn't get shaken in high-pressure situations. That kind of attitude, along with his skill set, makes him more than a developing prospect. In Bisping's opinion, Topuria is already competing with the demeanor of someone born to sit upon the throne.
That's the confidence that he has going into every single fight. Of course, Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira is an exciting fighter, but it's the exciting style that he has that will give me cause for concern if I was coaching Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. Nobody will be booing when Charles Oliveira fights, but it's that reckless style that might get him clipped. Ilia Topuria, he's clean, he's composed, he's calm, and he's looking at his opponent, and when he explodes, we know he's got big power. He might explode the chin of Charles Oliveira. Whereas Charles Oliveira on the flip side, the chin's a little up, he's throwing knees, he's throwing elbows, and we absolutely love it. But that's got him in trouble before.
Even Alexander Volkanovski, who fought alongside Ilia, had nothing but positives to say. Volkanovski admired Topuria's toughness, relentless pressure forward, and high fight IQ. Volkanovski told Ilia's mid-fight adjustments were one of the biggest challenges he had. For a former champion and a guy who's fought in hundreds of wars to speak so highly of Topuria, it says it all. Volkanovski's words had the authority of experience, not analysis. From an opponent turned watcher, it's a strong statement that confirms Ilia's ascension from prospect to actual contender.
That goes. But with Ilia and Charles, Ilia has a chance to knock anyone out. You know, he's got solid hands and very, very dangerous. And he's very, he's got a very good focus. So even when things aren't going his way, he's still, you know, he's got like this tunnel vision of, I'm going to find this shot. And that's dangerous when you've got a guy like you. You're like jabbing him up, jabbing, he's missing shots. Some people usually start to like, oh, I better watch out, I better not throw shots until I know they're there. You know, start second guessing themselves. I don't know if I've seen that in Ilia. So when you've got someone that's that stoic through that process, you know, he could definitely find that shot. And if he does, he could put anyone even in the lightweight division.
With the MMA community supporting him, Ilia's confidence is plainly on an upswing. He posted a video trolling Oliveira, not for humorous purposes, but as a calculated psychological blow. It demonstrated that he's not only physically prepared, but also mentally set for the wars to come. The video wasn't about disrespect, it was about command. Topuria's message was clear. He's not intimidated by resumes, belts, or legends. He's in the division to shake things up, and he's doing it with confidence. That attitude, combined with the support he's gaining, demonstrates that Ilia is owning his moment. And yet, Charles Oliveira hasn't blinked. In a recent interview, he nonchalantly countered the building hype, reminding everyone of his path, how many times he's been questioned, and how often he's quieted critics.
É muito foda que eu não gosto de ficar falando muito que tudo que a gente fala, você tá ligado, né? Mas tudo burburinho, né? Mas eu acho que já passou a fase disso, né? São 15 anos dentro do UFC, né? Eu entrei um menino lá dentro, eu era só um moleque lá dentro, igual eu tudo que eu falei pesa, né? Eu sou só um menino no meio dos leões. Hoje eu me sinto um leão no meio dos leões. E um leão diferenciado, um leão embaçado. O último, o Charles desiste. Eu fui lá e atropelei. O último, o Charles não tem mão. Eu fui lá e nocauteei. O Charles não tem o sei o que lá. Eu fui lá e fiz.
Oliveira said it straight that he's constructed for these situations. He's endured adversity, conquered merciless wars, and claimed UFC gold. Although the spotlight is now on Ilia, Charles is accustomed to walking through flames. He doesn't have to resort to trash talk. His mind is set on taking back his spot. Legacy, to him, is scrawled in scars and silence, not Twitter.
Então eu acho que assim, é tão bagulho, são tantas coisas loucas que, tipo, se a ideia é essa de ficar falando, de ficar cogitando pra ver se vai me abalar, cara, tipo, eu vejo os negócios, tipo, se é que vocês estão longe, vocês não estão vendo, mas se você perguntar pros meninos que andam comigo, você vê, tipo, eu dou risada, tá ligado? Porque é coisas tão relativas, enquanto eles estão falando, eu tô treinando, eu tô me dedicando. Você me conhece, eu não sou aquele que tem que ficar postando, aquele que tem que ficar falando, aquele que tem que fazer. Eu sei o que eu tenho que fazer, o trampo é dia 28, então eu tenho que simplesmente se focar e tá pronto, tem 2 semanas para isso acontecer, então...
In the meantime, the hype for Topuria has spilled over from Oliveira. Michael Bisping unveiled a fresh outbreak of Ilia's feud with Paddy Pimblett. This long-standing feud has flared up once again, and there may be further drama waiting in the wings. Whether distraction or deliberate ascendancy, it's keeping his name in the airwaves. He's not merely competing inside the cage, he's competing for narrative command. From main event buzz to combustible rivalries, Topuria is commanding the spotlight, tension, and storylines that differentiate superstars in contemporary MMA.
Ilia Topuria said, verbatim, he's a hypocrite, I'll tell you. I remember we shared a press conference and he said something like, I'm going to be fighting on the main card and you're on the prelim, some kind of nonsense. And now I'm thinking, I have 2 featherweight belts. Where are you? Who the f is Paddy Pimblett right now, and why should he deserve to fight me? Well, Paddy Pimblett's undefeated in the UFC. Paddy Pimblett last just beat Michael Chandler, beat him down, made a mockery out of him, beat him to a pulp, and then got the finish, okay?
Topuria has also persisted in pecking away at Oliveira's psychological armor. He's constantly implied that Charles breaks under pressure, asserting that when the tide turns in his favor, Oliveira's willpower dissolves. These aren't wild jabs. They're calculated, psychological shots intended to plant seeds of doubt and shatter confidence. Ilia's attempting to flip the script, not only that he can beat Charles, but that Charles isn't as mentally indomitable as everyone supposes. It's a high-risk, high-reward contest, but one that Ilia clearly relishes playing as he strives to earn every advantage available.
I'd love to go for a walk with Charles Oliveira. Actually, yes, to give him a bit of culture, to teach him something, because it's obvious that this kid hasn't read a single page of a newspaper. Another question, please, because this isn't a good time to talk about somebody like that. So there's Topuria being dismissive. There's Oliveira talking shit. Topuria needs to prove himself, apparently according to the champ. Oliveira needs that last final fight to get over the hump to challenge for the belt. And in the meantime, you've got Justin Gaethje, a fan favorite, a company man that's always putting on great fights. All Justin Gaethje's got to do is stay nice and quiet. Let these two keep chatting it up, talking a bit of shit, and Justin Gaethje might just emerge out of this as the winner, as the guy that gets to go up against Islam Makhachev. And then Topuria versus Oliveira, they might fight for a #1 contender spot. Whoever wins that gets to fight the winner between Islam and Justin Gaethje.
Oliveira wasn't quiet. He dismissed Topuria's assertions as nonsense and reminded the world of the blood and sweat that earned him his championship. Anyone who calls him a quitter hasn't been watching, Charles said. From his early days in the UFC to his championship campaign, Oliveira has lived through wars that would have shattered anyone else. His reaction was not emotional. It was earthed, measured, and powered by experience. He's been knocked down before and stood up every time. This time he wants to do it again, not only to emerge victorious, but to silence every single voice that ever questioned him.
I feel like every time you fight, your opponents sometimes bring up this concept of you being a quitter or having quit in the past. The fact that you weren't able to train that effectively and still went in there and went 5 rounds and won the fight, do you enjoy proving to everyone that like you're not a quitter and in fact actually you're one of the best in the game?
Cara, sendo bem sincero, eu nem ligo porque esses caras falam. Esses caras têm que inventar alguma coisa pra falar. Então, pra mim não faz diferença. Eu só quero vir aqui, tá bem, tá feliz e fazer aquilo acontecer.
Instead of allowing the insults to get in his head, Oliveira has used them as motivation. With increased focus and intensified training, Charles is approaching this bout seeking not only a win, he's seeking redemption. He's got the weight of his legacy on his shoulders and understands that defeating an up-and-coming undefeated phenom like Topuria would rewrite the book. To Oliveira, it's not about records or rankings, it's personal. He wants to remind the division that the lion hasn't departed. He's simply been sharpening his claws quietly, anticipating the next storm to unleash.
Então, eu tô em busca do título. Eu não corro de ninguém, nunca corri, não vai ser agora que eu vou correr. Eu tô pronto para lutar contra qualquer um desses caras, né? Respeito todos eles, mas vou imprimir meu ritmo, meu jogo. Por que não, né? Se for pelo título, por que não lutar com o Topuria? Eu tô em busca do título, eu não quero fazer mais uma luta para poder esperar o título, não. Pra mim isso não me interessa, eu quero lutar pelo título.
During a recent press conference, Ilia added even more fuel to the fire of the rivalry by accusing Charles of being involved with Islam Makhachev's behavior and stating Oliveira would pay for that. That wasn't just trash talk, it was psychological warfare. Topuria unabashedly sees this fight as something greater than just a bout. It's a mission. By connecting Charles to unresolved business with Makhachev, he's raised the stakes. He's not merely fighting to win, he's fighting to make a statement. This has become personal in a very real way, and Ilia's attitude speaks to a man prepared for war in full.
Bueno, en primer lugar agradecerle a Charles, la verdad, por haber aceptado el reto, ¿no? Algo que Islam no hizo. Y tiene que pagar el precio por Islam. Me da mucha pena por Charles, pero bueno, al final del día es mi trabajo. Voy a cumplir otro sueño más que siempre tuve, que era convertirme en campeón de otra división más, por lo que el resultado será el mismo de siempre, salir victorioso y seguir con el invicto.
Michael Bisping stepped back to consider the grander picture, detailing just how much is on the line for Oliveira. This isn't merely another bout on Charles's resume, it's possibly career-changing. Defeating an unbeaten wrecking ball such as Topuria wouldn't be a win, it'd be a resurrection. It would demonstrate that Oliveira is still among the best and still possesses what it takes to reign supreme. Bisping noted that this isn't about rankings, it's about legacy, redemption, and silencing the roar of a surging contender who wants to take everything Charles once fought for.
A bit of tension building between the two of them. And if I'm just engaging, I'm loving this because Topuria wants to fight for the belt and he's going back and forth talking about Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira's already been beaten by Arman Tsarukyan and by Islam Makhachev. So for Charles Oliveira, this might be the path back to fighting for the belt, to getting a rematch with Islam, because I'm not sure that Charles Oliveira right now is the guy that gets the title fight.
Even Paddy Pimblett has thrown his support behind Topuria, adding another unexpected layer to the growing wave of momentum. Paddy, known for his brash style and outspoken takes, has publicly sided with Ilia. That sort of support only fuels Topuria's momentum heading into the bout, with fans and opponents alike beginning to regard Ilia as not just a challenger, but as the next big thing. This fight has an electric atmosphere. It's obvious now, Topuria is no longer the underdog. He's the favorite walking into the flames in many people's eyes.
Do you think Ilia beats Charles then?
I think he might, to be honest. Charles is a bit chinny, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's had about 40 fights or something. He always gets punched. He always gets cracked.
Yeah.
So,
he's reckless, but he's super exciting.
Yeah, he is.
And he's dangerous.
Exciting. If he gets him down, I can see him winning because that £10 difference is a big difference.
Yeah.
145 to 155, it's a big difference. People don't understand that because they don't watch the sport or they're not involved in the sport. But that £10 makes a big difference. And especially, like, Charles is like my height. Ilia's like down here when I stand up. Know what I mean?
Henry Cejudo served up one of the cleaner assessments, asserting Oliveira will have to make real changes to have a hope. Cejudo cautioned that Charles can't bring the same game. He'll have to adapt if he's going to make it. It isn't about skill, it's about flexibility. The game is evolving, Cejudo said, and Topuria is that evolution. If Oliveira is not going to grow with it, he becomes a stepping stone. That pressure makes this more than a battle. It's a clash of styles, of generations, of futures impacting.
The who's at 155 pounds. I mean, everything absolutely changes, man, with Charles Oliveira taking down Michael Chandler, with Charles Oliveira taking down Justin Gaethje with those beautiful double legs. But I will say this, when I think of this fight, I always think of the distance that Charles Oliveira brings, and particularly he likes to be in close. And the fact that he likes to be in close with an inside fighter, it doesn't make sense. And that was one thing, the person that needs to make adjustments in this fight, typically you would say the lighter fighter, the smaller fighter going up, but not really. Charles Oliveira has been dropped by just about everybody that he's fought, from Chandler to Gaethje to Islam. I mean, what happens when you go up against a dude that's knocking people out, not TKOing people, knocking people out cold like Ilia Topuria? So when I'm looking at this fight, I'm saying Charles Oliveira is the guy that has to make those adjustments. If not, it's going to be the double champ. It's going to be Ilia Topuria securing himself as a 2-division world champion.
Joe Rogan weighed in, labeling Ilia Topuria one of the most engaging and well-rounded contenders in the UFC today. For an old dog like Rogan, who's witnessed generations come and go, those are words not given carelessly. He underscored Topuria's work ethic, upper echelon skill set, and how well-rounded he is already at such an age. Rogan thinks Ilia's combination of pressure, striking, and grappling make him a special breed in today's stacked lightweight pool. When someone with Rogan's stature speaks that way, it's time to take serious notice.
And Ilia Topuria is one of the absolute best fighters in the world. The dude is just phenomenal. One of the things that's phenomenal about him is his technique. He just sees that hand coming towards him and he's ducking. It's all like slight slips away, and it's slight motions, which is all you need to get away from a punch, right?
Chael Sonnen, never shy, capped it off with a glimpse into the future. He didn't just speak out for Topuria's skill, he predicted greater things, even hinting at a future battle against Paddy Pimblett would illuminate the UFC. Chael's prophecy wasn't mere hype. It reflected just how much faith the MMA community now has in Ilia. Fighters, analysts, and fans aren't merely speculating on his next bout, they're discussing his generation. Topuria has turned into the focal point of the storm, and everyone's eyes are now on whether Charles Oliveira can halt the momentum coming his way.
Paddy versus Ilia, is that the fight to make? I mean, if Ilia gets through Charles, do you reserve Paddy for him? Do you have Paddy do anything in between? Do you make Paddy the backup fighter for the very night of Charles versus Topuria? It's an interesting question. I mean, they have thrown such a remarkable, and this is when we talk about the dominoes, guys. We talk about the dominoes, and when one piece falls and they all go down, it really is incredible. We're still reeling from some of the announcements that Dana made. And it wasn't just the fights that Dana put together. It's what do we do with some of the players of the pieces that Dana didn't do anything with.
Thanks for listening to this complete analysis of the brewing tempest between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Who emerges victorious? The unbeaten phenom or the war-tested legend? Share your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more fight discussion and analysis. This is one conflict that might upset the whole division. Don't blink.